Hello, everybody. President Trump has just made one of the biggest wins, one of the biggest flexes that I have ever seen. He's just come out and said more Democrat programs are about to close up forever. And we're going to take that money and we're going to give it back to our seniors that need it the most. He said those on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, we will make sure that even during this Schumer shutdown that our seniors are taken care of. He said we even have private donors who have even offered to help pay for our citizens' needs if the government continues to shut down by Chuck Schumer. This, again, you are talking about a red wave that is coming every single time the Democrats take a step towards trying to hold the line. Trump has another card up his sleeve to help red win. President Trump says a very wealthy gentleman even offered to pay U.S. troops salaries if funding ran out during the government shutdown. Now tell me, everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments if you love this, because I do. Putting our people first like never before, and Trump is throwing it in the Democrats' faces like never before. Because we got a list for you. Democrats are trying to fund another $24.6 million to climate resilience in Honduras. This is the $1.5 trillion that they're trying to add back into this spending bill. $13.4 million to civic engagement in Zimbabwe. $3.9 million to LGBTQI+, so on and so on. Democracy grants in the Balkans. I don't even know where that is. $2.9 million to desert locust reduction in Africa. $2 million to organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. Just a few examples of how we always have so much money to go towards all these causes around the world, yet we can't take care of our seniors, and the GOP, MAGA, is finally saying no. Guys, that deserves a thumbs up like. I'm telling you, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, what I just told you, we are finally holding the line. And not only that, we are continuing to expose the corruption. Illinois lawmakers have just discovered that Democrats have laundered over $1 billion to politically connected NGOs. They said a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, has been funneled into political connected non-government organizations. No transparency. These NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent. And now we know that it is funneling chaos in our lives right now. This is literally exposing the Democrats at every single level all across the United States, how much corruption we have seen. We have the FBI, who has fully launched a full investigation into Antifa. We have it, I'm telling you, everybody, the only way that the Democrats can even think about winning is that they're going to try to hand over your money to try to buy votes. Their policies don't work. It's all about buying votes. Listen to this, because I hate it that the state of California receives almost $750 billion, listen to this, trillion, not a billion, $750 billion in federal funding. That's how they're able to do what I'm about to tell you. California Governor Gavin Newsom has approved a new state agency to administer restitution and reparations for descendants of slaves, that they are now taking money away from people in the state of California that have never owned slaves and taking that money and giving it to people that were descendants of slaves, which makes no sense because the state of California never had slavery. It was after the fact, okay? This has just blown my mind. It is officially a law. A new state agency is literally giving people of color, black people, and if you can prove that you were a slave, reparations in California. You cannot make this stuff up. We got the receipts, and we got some big news. Democrats are losing it so bad. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan has given Jack Smith an ultimatum. Jordan demands that Jack Smith testify over partisan and politically motivated Trump prosecutions, or else he will face jail time immediately. So he's giving it off. You either are going to testify over what you did to Trump, or you will be held in contempt of Congress, and you will see the inside of a jail cell. It's about dang time that somebody said something. Thank you, Jim Jordan. Guys, we got a big show for you today, a lot of breaking news. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who is watching. Thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. If you're not subscribed, though, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family. We're here to serve you. This is big, big news today. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a supporter of the channel, whether you like the videos, share the videos, donate through the super chats. We want to give some special love to Darren Harder. Show Darren Harder some love in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much, brother, for your support, as well as our boy Fred Samuel, who's a member of the channel. If you appreciate what we're doing, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is going to be a big, big show today. Why? Because the Democrats have nothing to stand on. They're still trying to bring a bad taste in people's mouth over Trump, but nobody's buying it. He literally just had one of the greatest achievements in our history with this new peace deal and what he's doing now with the military, with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and literally has private donors ready to help out those in need. Tell me Trump isn't winning, baby. Listen to this.
While Trump's in Egypt fighting for world peace, Democrats are in a blender. So the Messiah descended down from the clouds and graced us with his presence.
I think there is no doubt that a lot of the norms, civic habits, expectations, institutional guardrails that we had, that we took for granted for our democracy, have been weakened deliberately.
Maybe Barack could talk faster if he uncrossed his legs. And is the studio cold because Obama's hugging himself like a withered elderly woman? It was Marathon Day in Chicago this weekend. The streets were packed, the music loud, and the runners were whizzing by. And there he was, JB back ribs, waving from the sidelines when he should be out there running.
That's hilarious.
They probably didn't recognize him without his fancy flak jacket. But it's not just Pritzker who got run over this weekend. Kami Mondami's had a rough one. He was heckled so hard we thought he was Alec Baldwin.
Denounce Sharia law! Denounce Hezbollah! Denounce it! You can't denounce it! You can't denounce it, you rat!
Speaking of heckling, Code Pink infiltrated the K-Hive this weekend, crashed Kamala's little old book party.
Your legacy will always be
Man, guys, this is bad.
You know what? I am not president of the United States.
Kamala declared she's not president, and everyone clapped. But Democrats still haven't learned their lesson. Senators wanted to write The Art of the Comeback.
Let me tell you this. There is nothing that you cannot deny how powerful the Trump administration has been right now. In the past 24 hours, Trump not only accomplished every single thing on this list, flew to Israel, spoke to the press, met with the Israeli leaders, met with families of hostages, did an interview, delivered an hour-long speech to the Knesset, flew to Egypt, met with the Egyptian president, took photos, chatted with the dozens of world leaders, signed the historic Gaza peace deal, delivered another speech, met privately with world leaders, and then flew back to the U.S. There is no stopping this guy. And not only that, more good news, everybody. North Carolina Republicans have just announced a plan to vote on a new GOP-friendly congressional map for the 2026 midterms, baby. In another blow to the Democrats. Let's go. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. I love this, guys. We are continuously seeing that we are going to see a red wave. And I'm going to show you something in a moment, because now everybody on the Democratic side is shaking in their boots. They cannot stand this because Common sense is winning the entire game right now. It's not about left or right. It's about common sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is beautiful.
Do you think that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate in 2028?
Candidate, yeah, absolutely.
Not so fast. The big guy won't even pick up her calls.
His spokesperson said that he is going to now start doing radiation for his prostate cancer. Have you talked to him about it?
I called him earlier.
How's he doing?
I have not talked to him. I just left him a message
Okay.
After I heard the news. I was otherwise on the event at the event.
Why just send her to voicemail? It's not like she wrote a tell-all trashing him.
You write about him a lot in the book. Have you talked to him about the book?
Yes.
Yeah. What'd he say?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, come on. You know, it's just you and I.
Yeah, right.
Who has a worse relationship, Kamala and Joe or Trump and Pence? It's close.
Ooh.
While Kamala's waiting for a callback, Gavin Newsom's building an empire with stolen staff. Quote, many former Harris staffers, including the leadership of her 2020 presidential campaign, now are working for Newsom and are expected to stay with him if he runs in 28. So Gavin watched Kamala lose every swing state and said, those are the people I want working for me. The whole party's tone deaf. Senate Democrats, in the middle of a shutdown, are packing their bags and heading straight to Napa Valley wine country. The luxurious Democrat retreat will be held at the exclusive Hotel Yuntville. Here's the itinerary. Welcome lunch at 12:30, followed by a 5 p.m. wine tour at a nearby vineyard. So they can saunter amidst fields of grapes, then waltz through a series of wine caves where they'll wine and then cave. The next day, they can pamper themselves at the spa. Pocahontas and Schumer can relax in the co-ed lounge, unwind in the hydrotherapy tubs. Washington might be closed, but the hydrotherapy tubs are wide open. Remember, Schumer said every day gets better for Democrats amid the shutdown. Of course it does. When you're drinking a full-bodied cab in Napa after a hot stone aromatherapy massage. Is a wine retreat the best way to say I care about people like you? People who aren't getting paychecks thanks to the Schumer shutdown?
Wow.
By the way, Republicans had a little retreat of their own planned, but they pulled the plug because they actually want to reopen the government, not refill their glasses. And while Democrats raise a glass to themselves, they should pour one out for Italian-American Nancy Pelosi. She's skipping Columbus Day this year and instead celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. Notice Nancy's not saying we should give the land back. That wouldn't be a wise investment. Right, Paulie?
I'm telling you, everybody, the Democrats are shaking in their boots right now. This right here, all this breaking news that's coming out, I'm telling you, this is beautiful. The Republicans, and this is a fight over who wins 2026. If the Democrats win 2026, they will 100% try to impeach Trump again. But now we're seeing that because of the redrawn maps, we are 100% moving in the right direction. Listen to this.
Actually represents pretty accurately, mathematically, how the country's divided over the question of the presidency. But if you look at this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5. Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas, 1. New Hampshire, 1. And Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. And don't forget, the Supreme Court is considering what could really be the end of the Voting Rights Act, which would protect minority groups. So you don't have a state that's half black, for example, that elects only 1 congressional member and everybody else goes to the Republicans that would represent that population in some ways. So if that is gutted, Democrats could lose 19 seats. This would be a huge amount. But this is also a measure of how much the White House is concerned about this, because Donald Trump knows if the Democrats get the House again, there could be new investigations, just like last time. There could be a new impeachment. There could be a lot of impediment to these plans that right now the Republicans in the House and Senate are letting run like a freight train.
And I'm telling you this, everybody, this Supreme Court Act. So again, Right now, we have things that are gerrymandered like nobody's business in order to allow for the Democrats to get literally 19 seats for nothing. And now that the Supreme Court is hearing it and there's a good chance that they're gonna repeal it, it is just beautiful. It is music to our ears that we are finally getting things where they are fair and not just they're race-based, not DEI stuff anymore. This is beautiful. Let me know your thoughts, because I'm telling you, every step that we take towards this is a win for MAGA. It's a win for America. The Zachary Mantis, welcome to the family. Let's go. Show the Zachary Mantis some love in the chat. And thank you so much, Fred Samuel, for the super chat. Said those are all part of the Democrat slush funds. I'm telling you, more to show you in just a moment over these slush funds. It is unreal how much money is being found. Not millions, billions of dollars unaccounted for, no transparency. It's our tax dollars, but we have no idea what's going towards it. That's why we must win. Check this out.
When you read the book, Eric, of a potential comeback, because the entire force of corporate America, the entire force of the technology industry, the entire force of the capital, Wall Street, and particularly the government and the state and this radical Democratic Party and their donors, it all converges to not simply make sure he can't return to the White House, but to destroy the family, to set an example that anybody else that steps out of line, we don't care how famous you are, we don't care how powerful you are, we don't care how wealthy you are, we don't care how people like you or consider you good people. It doesn't matter. You will be destroyed. That is what comes through the pages of this. And in leading up to Butler, you understand that the story of Trump, the American Cincinnatus, could not be written unless you had to go through this. That is why the stealing by the apparatus of the 2020 election, it's totally logical. And President Trump's, the moral courage, I say, if you take Jack Kennedy's book, Profiles in Courage, which at that time in the late 1950s, they took every great moral victory of politics, and he and Sorensen, I think, had 10 examples. If you take that book and triple it, it's one half of President Trump's moral decision to come back and say, I don't care what they try to do to me, including put me in prison. I'm going to fight this, because if I don't fight it, we're not going to have a republic. Eric Trump, your thoughts?
No one's stronger. No person I have ever met in my life even compares to that man and his courage and his tenacity and his fight every single day. But Steve, I remember how bad it hurt when we're sitting in the Blue Room, in the White House, 2020, and we quote unquote lost. We didn't lose. Everybody knew. I mean, no one actually believes that Joe Biden got 16 million more votes than Barack Obama did in 2012. Give me a break. I mean, universally on both left and right, everybody knows that that's BS. But honestly, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to us. As painful as it was at the time, we know we didn't lose. We fought our butts off. We were tired. We had that one. The enthusiasm gap was 10x. It wasn't even close. I would counter narrative, his rallies. I would talk across the street, Steve, and literally I'd have 1,000 people and he couldn't fill his little yellow circles. But it's a law of unintended consequences. And I really do believe that God guided all of that. I mean, think about it. The media is dead. The mainstream media is dead. No one likes them. No one trusts them, right? You have a Republican Party that's willing to fight. You've got the Senate. You've got the House. You've got a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. You obviously have the executive branch. You have a killer cabinet of people who are phenomenal. You've got great ambassadors all over the world. You've got people like Steve Witkoff in there doing incredible jobs. None of this would have been possible. You wouldn't have had the Senate. You wouldn't have had the House. You wouldn't have had the same a majority. You would have had, so many kind of people from the old cabinet. There was plenty of fine people, but you would have had the baggage of all of them.
Yep.
It honestly took us coming out for 4 years and being at the lowest part on the totem pole, right, to realize who our true friends were, who were there in the bad times, who were there when we were weak. I mean, Steve, I talk about it a lot, and my father talked about that in the Art of the Deal, in the Art of the Comeback, when he wrote his original business books, about the days where the phones stopped ringing. You better believe after 2020, the phone stopped ringing. I'm not talking about the American people who absolutely adored my father. I'm talking about from the establishment and the people you otherwise thought were your friends. And, having those 4 years in those courtrooms to know who is sitting by your side and who is your friend and who is showing up every single day.
Oh, that's so
true. And being able to
true.
empower those people to sit next to you in government. You could never have that same experience again because those people are all tested. Those people are all battle hardened, you know, and those people are willing to go out there and fight.
And you know what's so beautiful about that, everybody, is that just think of Trump's team right now. Not only is it comprised of independents and former Democrats, but we are seeing that, again, it's non-traditional people that have stood up to do what is right, to put America first. And this right here is just another reminder. This was released by Border Patrol that Trump's policies have yielded the lowest illegal border crossing arrest in half a century. No law has been passed. No changes have been made besides actually protecting our borders like we were supposed to. And again, we 100% know it was an invasion that the Biden administration allowed to happen. And this is something that we want people to be held accountable for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments because I still get sick and tired of thinking how many people came in unvetted, no idea, how many people were trafficked, how much drugs came in because the Biden administration got so lax. They let anything happen. And it literally is one of the biggest travesties of our nation what happened over the past 4 years. Jim Barbato, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. OG of the channel with my favorite GIF. I love it. Show Jim some love in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. And Fed Up Patriot, member of the channel. I love it. Says, family, we need to continue to pray for Trump and his administration and for our beloved America. We must never be complacent again for the sake of our America. Let's go, baby. Show Fed Up Patriot and Jim Barbato some love in the chat. We, again, are fighting the fight of our lives to truly have an America First agenda. And the only way this gets done is we have to drain the swamp. Listen to this.
Strong. He's making transformational change. The Democrats are weak. And honestly, as painful as it was, those 4 years were the best thing that ever happened.
Clearly, when you read the book, Under Siege, and like I said, I recommend that everyone gets it for themselves because although we covered it day in and day out, I remember on the afternoon of the 20th of January 2021, when Boris Epstein was at Andrews when it left, and we played My Way on the show and talked about, there was never any doubt in this audience that don't want to hear Ron DeSantis, don't want to hear any of it. Nikki Haley, forget it. It's destiny. It has to be Trump. The American story demands that it's Trump. But clearly he's a man of destiny. As we go, because you don't really get into, the book is great about the years in the wilderness and the great fight to come back. Today, when you see things that happened like yesterday, which your father nailed it, it's 3,000 years of vendettas, 3,000 years, and it even transcends religion. It started even before Islam was around. It's deeper. It started before Christianity was around. The hatred over there, the mistrust, has been thousands of years. And you see for the first time an architecture of where you actually could have peace and you have people working.
I love this so much. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Such truth that, again, what Trump was able to do in the Middle East, it's just mind-blowing, everybody. And everybody across the aisle should and 100% back Trump and give him the credit he is due.
Together and pulling together. Particularly, that's why I thought the meeting in Egypt was breathtaking. In thinking that through, and you being the guy that was there every day, as a man of destiny, where do you think this takes us, not just in the second term, but where do you think he takes America and the world?
Well, Steve, it's kind of interesting when you say that because I think for the longest time Americans were almost like almost a glorified war, right? I mean, look at the Gulf War with Norman Schwarzkopf and everybody. A lot of patriotism and about going in and kicking bad guys' butts and doing everything. And now I think peace is actually being glorified in the world for the first time ever. And I don't think it's something that people are spending a whole lot of time talking about. But I actually think society's changing. I think society's changing from a lot of kind of hardline American people who go in there and pump their chests and want to kick butt and take names and God bless. I'm a red-blooded Republican. There's no one that likes that stuff when it's warranted more than me. At the same time, now all of a sudden you're having a lot of people saying this is senseless. Spending 20 years in the Middle East at the cost of trillions of dollars that could have been invested in our schools and our roads and infrastructure is senseless. The military complex in this country, it's crazy. It's run away from us in ways that we can't even imagine. The senseless spending, the death and destruction, the just maimed kids that are coming back from sitting on on ridges in Afghanistan for months and months, getting mortared every single day. We don't want it anymore. America doesn't want it. We want to invest in ourselves. We don't want to be the police force of the entire world. And by the way, all these other countries don't want it either. It doesn't benefit anyone. So let's stop the wars. I mean, I was personally in the room with Cambodia and Thailand when my father stopped that conflict. I remember him calling both people, and that conflict stopped, virtually right away. And he's ended. This is the 7th or 8th war that he's ended, right? I mean, there are kids in the world that are alive because of his actions. A lot of them. The world is a better place, and so I just love the fact that people are rejoicing around the world in peace. I hate the fact that the Nobel Peace Prize can't get their arms around it, and they're politicized, and they won't do the right thing. But universally, when you have when you have every side of every conflict coming out and saying President Trump got this done and it wouldn't have happened without him, and we're thankful to him, and it's a proud moment. It's a really, really proud moment.
And it's so awesome, everybody, because again, too, the winning is literally happening across the world. But it's also happening here. This is as bad as it gets, guys. You're going to have a really, really good laugh with this, because there is no way in this world you would have ever heard that a CNN reporter like Dana Bash speak to the House Minority Leader like she does now. But this is how far things have gone, everybody. Listen to this.
Engagement to try to find engagement to try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation.
Have you tried that? I know where your office is at. You could just get up and go do your dang job. Guys, how insane is that? That is literally like, wow. That is the most straightforward slap in the face from Dana Bash to the Democrats. This is hilarious.
With me or Leader Schumer, and he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is that until they get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward, and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful. Engagement.
I'm telling you, everybody, the more and more that we hear them talk, just reminding you that this is what this was put out by the Blaze, just a couple of the things that they want to put money towards back into our spending bills. $24.6 million to climate resilience in Honduras, $3.9 million to LGBTQ plus democracy grants in the Balkans. Are you even kidding me? $2 million to organizing feminist democratic principles in Africa. Y'all, this is hilarious. So hilarious. Lay Lewis, thank you so much with the gifted 5 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. Show Lay, OG of the channel, some love in the chat. Lay, we appreciate you so much. You're so awesome. Thank you so much for helping us grow our voice, grow our memberships. We can't thank you enough. Show Lay some love in the chat. And again, we bring the receipts, everybody. A lot of stuff that's happening. This is straight from the people, what's going on. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you so much. Listen to this.
That happened yesterday in Israel. The world's eyes are still fixed on Israel, where President Trump is welcoming home now the last of the hostages who've endured 2 years in Hamas captivity. I thought it was remarkable. I saw a video last night of one of the released hostages who made the point that as soon as the election was held in November in the United States, Hamas began to treat him and his fellow hostages much better. They fed them better. They respected them more. They changed the tone of how they treated them. They no longer spit upon them. As he said in his own words, elections have consequences. And he said or implied that the Hamas was counting on Kamala Harris to win and not President Donald J. Trump. But thankfully for the whole world, that didn't happen. And this is a historic moment. It deserves enormous credit and recognition on the world stage. It's truly, truly historic. For generations, we have aspired to peace in the Middle East, everyone around the world, and now President Trump has delivered it. I'm going to make an announcement today. It's the announcement in the U.S. that was made in the Knesset yesterday. I'm proud to tell you that together with my friend Speaker Ohana of the Israeli Knesset, the equivalent of our Congress, we're going to embark upon a project together to rally speakers and presidents of parliaments around the world so that we will jointly nominate President Donald J. Trump for next year's Nobel Peace Prize. No one has ever deserved that prize more, and that is an objective fact. As Speaker Ohana said before the Knesset yesterday, quote, "Whoever saves one life, it is though he has saved an entire world." That's what some of the rabbis there would say, some of the sages he noted would say. It's an indisputable fact that no president has undertaken the work of saving lives and pursuing peace with such determination and with such remarkable success as President Trump. And under his leadership, we are witnessing the dawn of a new golden age, not just for America, but for the entire free world. The world is changed by these actions and strong leadership. American strength is good for free people around the world, as we say always. And peace through strength is maintained. There will be more to share on this in the weeks ahead, but today marks the start of this effort that we'll embark upon together, this joint parliamentary project, and I'm honored to do it alongside our ally and my counterpart in Israel in leading that effort. Welcome to day 14 of the Democrat government shutdown. It's 2 weeks of Democrats in Congress inflicting untold pain on the American people for nothing other than pure politics, as we've explained at this podium every day of the shutdown. Today, Senate Democrats will have their 8th chance to end this mess by passing our clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution, the government funding bill that would end all of this immediately. Over 3 weeks ago, the House passed that bill, and you all know the details of it. It is completely clean. There are no policy changes, no partisan riders, no gimmicks or tricks at all. All it does is keep the lights on at the current funding levels for a few extra weeks while we complete the normal appropriations process. Now compare that to the Democrats' counterproposal. They're demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending paid for by American taxpayers. And I want you to be specific. I want us to be specific. I want you to note what that counterproposal includes, because we've not yet gone into all the details of it, because it's large and very absurd. But here's some of the highlights of this. It would reverse common sense reforms that Republicans made in the working families tax cut that keep illegal aliens off taxpayer-funded health care. This is a fact. Page 57, section 2141 of their counterproposal, as we've been posting everywhere. And it would, they would add the illegal aliens, non-citizens, back to taxpayer-funded benefits. It would cost taxpayers nearly $200 billion. They would also remove a very reasonable and modest work requirement that we put on able-bodied young men with no dependents. As we've said, they should not be riding the wagon and taking Medicaid. That is intended for vulnerable populations, the elderly, disabled, and young pregnant women, for example, and not young able-bodied men without dependents who are playing video games. We put that into the law because it's common sense. Their counterproposal would reverse that. So taxpayers would be funding them again. They would make in their counterproposal permanent COVID-era Obamacare subsidies without any income caps or any other reforms at all. They would make that permanent. That would cost tax.
And remember, this is insane. Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out against this, says she wants the Obamacare subsidies to stay intact. She wants to make sure that all that keeps in place because people are hurting when it comes to healthcare insurance. And again, too, she said it for everybody, including herself. She literally posted this, everybody. We bring you the receipts. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, why is MTG talking nonstop about health insurance and why she wants to add these Obamacare subsidies back in? Look at the cost of almost entire Obamacare premium increases paid for by taxpayers. Back in 2013, look at this. This is insane. From where it was at to where the blue is at now, of the premiums increase, the government share of how much the government is paying for the health care for these people. Like, it is mind-blowing. 2013, it was nothing. And then before you knew it, the government now, this is why, again, we run out of so much money. The government gets involved with something, everything, all the prices go up. Why? Because they always know that the dang government can just print money, and they think that, oh, everything's going to be great. Just add in a subsidy, add in a subsidy. Look at this. The premium increase from 2013 to 2014 was a 47% increase. The initial original Obamacare effect. The increase from 2014 to 2026 was $5,416 in the past 12 years. And again, this all affects everybody, guys, because I'm telling you what, they just came out with the actual date for the 2026 Social Security COLA announcement for seniors. This has been, this will be on October 24th, 8:30 a.m. It was originally set for October 15th. Government shutdown. All this stuff is pushing it back, but it's now going to be October 24th. But this just shows you that even with the changes that are coming, it's still not enough for seniors. It's still not enough for those Medicare, Medicaid. They're saying it's going to be 2.8%. With the premiums rising on healthcare and whatnot, it's still not enough. And that's why, again, I'm so proud of the company that we have sponsored with, Chapter, who, again, that is a sponsor of our channel. If you're on Medicare, about to be on Medicare, they can literally go ahead and take care of you today and moving forward. It's free, everybody. Things are super expensive now across every facet. And if you can get help for free when it comes to the health insurance costs, where they literally save seniors on average $1,100 a year. That's a lot of money. You tell them that Joel sent you. You call the number 667-895-3015. They're going to get you taken care of. You tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. I'm telling you, I'm even using this with my own family because of how crazy things have gotten. I just showed you the chart. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. And that's why we're so happy and thankful that we partnered. This is our only outside sponsor, is with Chapter, comparing every single Medicare plan, making sure that you're taken care of. And again, guys, call them up. You can go to a link in the description or call them up, 667-895-3015. When we show you the actual chart of how much the government is paying in subsidies and how much healthcare has risen, $5,416 on average over the past 12 years. Why? Because the government got into it, lobbyists got into it, Big Pharma got into it, and all it's doing, it's hurting Americans every single day. Just think about it. Back in 2013, look where the cost was at. It was just yellow. And then now the cost has increased exponentially, and now the government has to pay so much for it, and it's just a revolving door of wastefulness. If you appreciate what we're doing and bringing this news, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. We're fed up with it. We want to see change. Listen to this.
Taxpayers an estimated $358 billion. They would take away the $50 billion that we put into the law to support rural hospitals. They would remove that. And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on a CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI+ democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. and $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that.
Yeah.
These are unserious proposals from unserious people, and they're playing games while real Americans are being harmed adversely by the shutdown. Yesterday, I read you an excerpt from President Obama's speech during the 2013 shutdown when he advocated for a clean CR to reopen the government and resume negotiations. It sounded very familiar. Democrats cheered him on back then, including Chuck Schumer. He himself said some Republicans' refusal to support a clean CR back then was, quote, the politics of idiocy. Take him at his word. So yesterday we decided to do a little count of the number of times that Chuck Schumer has supported continuing resolutions just since he became the leader of the Democrats in the Senate in 2017. That number came out to 29 out of 30 continuing resolutions. That's how many times he wholeheartedly, enthusiastically supported CRs enacted into law. That's a 97% support rate. What's changed? Well, this time his job is on the line. And we've explained this very clearly because everybody can see the obvious political motivation here behind his decision to shut the government down right now. He helped us avert a shutdown in March by doing the right thing and supporting virtually the identically same continuing CR that we're offering today. And his radical base went crazy, and they haven't forgiven him for it. That's why Chuck Schumer is opposed to it today. That's what changed. It's very obvious. This government shutdown is plainly and simply an exercise in image rehabilitation. This is an attempt at image rehabilitation for Chuck Schumer. So selfishly, completely about himself, he is shutting the government down to hurt other people. He needs to show a fight against President Trump so he can keep his left base happy through the next election cycle. How do we know that? Well, his record shows the obvious truth about it. Again, look at the numbers. Chuck Schumer supported CRs to help avert a government shutdown 29 out of 30 times as leader of his party. And he emphatically supported every single CR enacted into law since 2017, except for one. And of course, you won't have to do much research to figure out who was in the White House during that time.
I want to show you this again, too, because, again, the Democrats have literally lost so much right now that now they're paying reparations in California. Remember, California gets almost $750 billion in federal funding. And now they're going to be giving reparations using taxpayer dollars to those that are descendants of slaves, which makes no sense because California never had slavery. Taking money from people that never owned slaves and now giving it to people that never in California were part of the slavery. There was no slavery in California. Listen to this.
Gavin Newsom, after the George Floyd protests and riots of 2020, committed to putting in place a reparations advisory board, a reparations piece of legislation in California. He has now done so. He has committed to an advisory board that will look at everyone's case to allocate reparations for, well, that's the real key here. For what? Because we're talking about a state that never had slaves. We're talking about people who are not, if they're in California, the descendants of slaves, and giving money away and taking it from people who never owned slaves. So I don't know how this is going to work logistically, and I'm not sure what message that sends morally.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they think they're righting the wrongs of, our ancestors in the past. But again, like you said, logistically, how do you make that work? And why is it fair for people who never owned slaves? And historically speaking, it was a tiny minority of people who ever owned slaves to begin with. So people's that ancestors never owned slaves are now paying people who never were slaves. The whole thing is messed up. And it also just doesn't really focus on accountability and decision-making, which is the thing that people need to be focused on, not getting handouts, not getting free cash, not getting help from the government.
Let me tell you this. Again, we show it time and time again. Just because you give people money does not bring them out of poverty. It's a mindset. And again, too, it's all about where is the priorities at right now. I'm telling you what, I've never seen Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out against her own Republican side so strongly right now, everybody. It is insane. She is calling them all out, saying there's a lot of weak Republican men in Congress right now. These are the people that, again, she is like breaking ranks right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. Marjorie Taylor Greene hit back at fellow Republicans over the backlash she faced with breaking with the party on high-profile issues ranging from the government shutdown to the release of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. She said there's a lot of weak Republican men, and they're more afraid of strong Republican women, so they are always trying to marginalize the strong Republican women that actually want to do something and actually want to achieve. Let me know your thoughts and comments on her, guys, because I'm telling you, she is coming after everybody. And again, where are we at? Where is this government shutdown going? They're saying that this is probably going to be the longest government shutdown that we've ever seen. Listen to this.
Newt Gingrich joining us. Newt, thanks for coming by again. We appreciate it. I want to know how you would characterize the Democrats' response to Trump's peace deal.
Well, look, it's all over the board. Some of them hate Trump so much they can't give him any credit. Some of them, particularly in the Biden administration, want to somehow claim some of the credit. And a number of them have been pretty honest, including Hillary Clinton, who came out, and Bill Clinton. Both have said this is an amazing achievement, and we have to recognize it. And a number of Democratic congressmen have said, you know, whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, this is an astonishing breakthrough. So I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag. The hard line of the Democratic Party, remember, some of them want to see Israel destroyed. So from their standpoint, a truce which keeps Israel safe and prosperous is a defeat for their values. When they chanted peace, they actually meant the end of Israel. They didn't mean peace in the way that's evolved. But frankly, it just makes them look more isolated. And I think their party is sort of in the shadows now. Yeah. You know, I mean, Schumer is much smaller and Donald Trump is much bigger as a result of the last few days.
I want to get to the shutdown. Speaker Johnson is warning the Democrats about this shutdown. Listen to what he has to say.
Democrats today have no leader, no vision, no direction. He's gambling with people's lives and livelihoods to appease the far-left Marxist base of his party so that he can keep his job. And make no mistake, this is bigger than Chuck Schumer. We're barreling toward one of the longest shutdowns in American history unless Democrats drop their partisan demands and pass a clean, no-strings-attached budget to reopen the government and pay our federal workers.
Senator Schumer has said the longer it goes on, the better it is for his party, the Democrats. So is this drawn-out 14 days government that shut... You're laughing. It's not good for the Democrats?
Well, look, I mean, first of all, can you imagine a more heartless comment than to say every day that goes by and people aren't paid and services aren't provided is good for the Democratic Party? I mean, I think that's, frankly, one of the most chillingly inhumane and, frankly, dumb comments I've heard. The shutdown is not a good thing. It's not a necessary thing. The House of Representatives under Speaker Johnson passed a clean continuing resolution, had no Republican changes, no particular poison pills, just a pure clean, let's keep the government open while we negotiate. The Democrats decided on almost a kamikaze strategy of throwing themselves straight into forcing a government shutdown and forcing it, frankly, on behalf of a huge increase in spending. And I think that's why, in the end, this is not working. People would like to see the government reopen. People accept that there are some reforms that are needed in health care, but not necessarily a blanket automatic, you know, pay every illegal immigrant, pay every crook, pay every person who refuses to work model, which is where the Democrats are currently trapped. So
let me tell you this. I say no more money for anybody only because we keep getting things like this.
I'm Representative Brad Halbrook of the 107th District of Shelbyville. Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations, or NGOs. This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency.
Let's go.
Before we show you where the money's going, we need to ask one simple question. Why is government funding NGOs at all? First, there's no transparency. NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act or FOIA. Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent. Just last week, a lawsuit was filed because the state refused to release a contract detailing how much public money was being sent to specific groups. Second, the budget language is vague and on purpose. These grants are buried under broad terms with little or no detail. Lawmakers are being asked to approve funding without knowing how the money will be used or even who's getting it. Third, the human services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities. Now it's packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas.
Over $1 billion, everybody. $1 billion. If you appreciate us exposing all this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. This is why we don't want to give any more money. Tired of wasteful spending, tired of finding out more and more stuff is coming out. You know what? Let the government be shut down. We literally have Trump who says that people are going to be taken care of. Our seniors, WIC, military, all that. We're going to show you that in a moment. And it's beautiful because super wealthy donors are ready to make sure that America is being put first.
I think the president clearly is prepared to last a long time. And you would think that people who watched him yesterday and realized how huge the change was would understand that Trump's not likely to be intimidated by Chuck Schumer.
Sorry, I can't help but laugh. Thousands of these No Kings protests are scheduled this weekend. And there are some Republicans who think the left is just delaying the shutdown settlement until after the rallies. What do you say to that?
Well, I have no idea. I think look, I think that the left is in such disarray and is so split between the ones who would fight Trump on any grounds and the ones who would like to sort of get out of the way, that they're not capable of moving. Their leadership, like Schumer, are afraid. And remember, Schumer and the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, they live within 1.1 miles of each other. They're about a $15 Uber ride apart. Now, this is a gigantic country. And to have your party's top two leaders live within a few blocks of each other tells you, and then by the way, they live in a city which is about to elect a big government socialist with weird values. I mean, you sort of know that they get up in the morning and they're in a fantasy land that doesn't relate to the rest of the country.
Mandami is a $10 Uber ride away, I believe, but I'm just being facetious here. I can't resist.
Let me tell you this. If there's anything that would get you upset, everybody, I've already told you that now the committee within California is starting to give out reparations and whatnot. Now, look at this right here. Oregon releases their state budget. State budget now is showing $1.5 billion with a B on health care for illegal immigrants. Yet their own state police only gets half that, less than half that, $717 million. Tell me, where on God's green earth does this make sense at any level? Y'all, I'm showing you the facts. I'm showing you what's actually going on with this breaking news. It is mind-blowing. This is why we cannot have people who operate and would rather put illegal migrants ahead as a priority over our own citizens, our own men in blue, women in blue. We have to protect them. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. This is just, you can't make this stuff up. It is insane what we are finally seeing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, what Trump is doing across the aisle, across the world, big, big, big wins for everybody. But what I love too is even our boy J.D. Vance is laying the smack down. Listen to this.
Veep J.D. Vance smacking George Stephanopoulos down for asking about bribery allegations surrounding border czar Tom Homan instead of the government shutdown. Watch.
What was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. Here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. The American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No,
Well,
George,
Governor
I
J.B.
said that I
Pritzker's
don't.
Up next, we'll be right.
Shut him down. That got awkward. So, Dana, you and George Stephanopoulos share a very similar career trajectory. You both started in the White House. You came into the public sphere as communications people, talking on behalf of the various presidents that you represented. And now you're both superstars. However,
I don't know. I think he would say that he was much more of a bigger star than me.
He's shorter than you.
What did he do? What did he do wrong there?
Well,
it's very funny.
I would say everyone gets a choice on what you want to ask about, and the person you're interviewing gets a choice on how they want to answer. And J.D. Vance is a very skilled communicator, and he can take any topic and turn it around. And I think one of his main points is that you expect people in the country to be worried about Tom Homan in September 2024 and the FBI tape, and that they've already addressed it. Maybe not to George Stephanopoulos' satisfaction, okay. But if that's what you choose to answer or to ask about, then J.D. Vance has every right to say, wait, you don't want to talk about the fact that our troops might not get paid because we can't get the government to work together on this? And George knows how the whole system works. But again, everybody gets a choice, and that's just the one that George Stephanopoulos made on that day.
All right, so Jesse, when J.D. Vance says your first name over and over again, are you in trouble?
Probably, but I always think I'm in trouble.
Me too.
There's no evidence that Homan ever took any bribes, but there's a mountain of evidence that the Biden family did.
Ooh.
Diamonds, cars, cash, millions in wires. And Stephanopoulos never asked the president about it, never asked Hunter about it, his brothers, never was curious at all. And these are the new rules, by the way. Republicans shouldn't condemn anything a Republican does at this point. After the Democrats are backing a guy that says he wants to put 2 bullets in Republicans' head, they circled the wagons around that guy. I think you can circle the wagon around Tom Homan, because it looks like what the Biden DOJ was doing was going around throwing bags of cash at incoming Trump administration officials. Those look like dirty political setups and stings. Now, I assume he didn't take the cash and not report it to the IRS. I surely hope that's not what happened, but I don't trust the DOJ to not be dirty under Joe Biden, but you can tell that that's what they're doing. They're gonna hammer this sting hard next time they take power.
Who won that quid pro quo, Clarice?
I would say that you can't compare the Porter and Vance one because of the political affiliations. If
What do you mean by that?
But Vance is Republican, and it's different because the media always circled their wagons around Democrats.
And I want to show you this too. When it comes to how they operate, who controls them, and what they want to try to get accomplished, the Associated Press, the AP, is now refusing to sign onto the Secretary of War's Pete Hegseth's new Pentagon press policy, preventing them from freely roaming the halls, jeopardizing sensitive information. The AP is joining the New York Times. Well, guess what? This is the Pentagon. This isn't no Treasury. This has to deal with war, precious information. This just shows you when they don't get their way, they kick and scream and cry. But again, we're not just talking about the IRS or the Treasury. We're talking about the actual Pentagon that deals with war. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Shane MC, let's go. Member for 3 months. I love it. Show MC some love in the chat, as well as Heisenberg. Welcome to the family. Let's go. Show Heisenberg some love in the chat. Thank y'all so much for your support.
Republicans never get that. So they circle their wagons around Biden when he was in a coma. They're doing it with everybody else. So it's exhausted all their credibility. And that's kind of why, like, when you see Vance do that, he's kind of doing it not just for Vance. He's doing it for all of us in a way. It's like you, Harold, and I, and everybody here knows what it's like to be the target of the media and how unfair it can be. Many Americans didn't know that until they voted for Trump. until like tens of millions of Trump supporters were smeared every day.
Yep.
By in their local news and their national news. They knew what it's like to be framed unfairly and dishonestly. So now there's no reason, I know you probably disagree, there's no reason to show any respect to Stephanopoulos because he didn't show us any respect. And I think that's why it doesn't really matter. It's like we kind of enjoy watching Vance beat up on him, even though it's child abuse.
But it was wrong for that reporter for...
I love it, everybody. I want to show you this as well. Again, the doubling down. You cannot make this up, everybody. Just look at the amount of connections, the amount of priority of what Trump says when it comes to our seniors, our military. It's just beautiful.
Shutdown. You have the money to pay the troops on October 15th. Okay. How is
I actually have a man who is a very wealthy person. You'll know that when I tell you this. Who called a donor, a great gentleman, and he said, if there's any money necessary, shortfall, for the paying of the troops, that I will pay it, meaning he will pay it. How about that? I said, look, we're not going to need it. We're going to take care of our troops. But this was a position that's being forced upon us by Democrats. And all they have to do is just shut down.
Isn't that insane, everybody? I love it. Again, too, lots of things are happening across the board. But what I love is that we are America. Like us moving forward, winning together. This is what I love. And what I love is that we're continuously seeing this. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Shane MC, let's go with the super chat. Said, God bless us all. I love it. Show Shane some love in the chat. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. Listen to this.
Reported to treat that reporter in Cal.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Pouring billions of dollars into each other, fueling talks about a self-made boom that could turn bust. That's not a period, that's a question mark. What are you watching, Charles? What are your biggest concerns here, if any?
I don't have a lot of concerns, really. I'm really completely excited about the time we're living in, the opportunities that we have. And I think the biggest problem I have is with people looking at this as the market. You know, I did a back of the envelope last night, and I figured I've been to the supermarket 107 times in my life. Okay? I've never gone in the supermarket and bought every single thing in there. In fact, I've never even gone to the apple bin and just picked up any apples. I've always looked for the ones that I thought were the best. This market, if you're selective, can change your life. It already is changing lives. It already is changing lives. So the stuff that's happening, and what's ironic about it, this is an America First rally, right? The rare earth stuff, the quantum stuff, the artificial intelligence stuff, industrials that are working because of reshoring and onshoring. This is absolutely amazing. And I think because of the saber rattling, what we saw going from Thursday to now, more people are coming on board with the notion that, hey, we should be investing, you know, in these rare earth companies. We should be. This is the same as the highway program. This is the same as turning plowshares into tanks. This is that kind of moment right now, and it should be all hands on deck, and the market's reflecting that.
How do you, can I ask you a question about, I love the way you talked. I can't believe you've been to the market only 107 times in your life. Though.
The supermarket.
You've been to the supermarket more than 107 times.
I've been to bodegas, but I'm just saying like a big supermarket, you know what I mean? Like where there's a whole bunch of stuff.
So here's my question for you. You're looking through the apples. Every apple in the bin right now says we've got a major AI play with us, okay? And a lot of them don't have revenue yet, right? So how are you looking beneath the hood to find those apples, you know, that don't have the worms underneath, that don't have the spots? What do you do to do that?
Well, the great thing is there's so much information out there, right? I mean, that's the most beautiful thing out there. There's company reports, there's industry reports, almost every single way. There's industry periodicals. There's so many ways if you just want to take the time, maybe skip a round of golf. You know, maybe instead of investing like, you know, into a fantasy football league, invest into doing this sort of a research. You know, a big name that's up, right? Novartis, right? NVTS. Stock popped in May. They had some news making a power system for NVIDIA. It popped again in June, popped again in July. And all the articles like, is it too late? Is it too high? It's ahead of itself. Well, it's up again today, right? And so I think there's so much focus on, did I miss it? What was it? It's going down, you know, tick, 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 tick. You know, when we watched Tom Brady win his 4th Super Bowl, I don't know if any sports network said, man, one day his arm is going to get tired. One day he's going to retire. One day he's going to be slow. No, it was on the majesty of the moment.
Yes.
The good thing about this, though, the majesty of this moment.
You got Jackie and Tom Brady.
The majesty of this moment is that the people watching the show can participate. This is their Super Bowl if they go out there and go get it.
I agree. I think if you're sitting out of this market because you're scared about what could happen, we could what if all day, right? And it could be 2, 3 years, more than that before, if there is a bubble, the bubble bursts. What we have learned over time is that if there is a problem in the market at some point and there is a little bubblicious activity there and there's a sell-off, you want to stay in it. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made in 2008, being so scared on the way down, liquidating. Wrong thing to do. You hold it and you wait for it to come back because it.
And let me tell you this, red wave is coming, baby. When CNN puts out Supreme Court's decision could cause the Democrats to lose 19 seats. This is big stuff, everybody. This right here is a game changer for Congress. And just think about the effects even too, with how much momentum that we get and what we can get in a red wave for the economy, for America, just for America First policies, what it could do for winning more seats in the Senate. If we could get 2/3 majority in the Senate and have the full House majority, my goodness, we would see a boom like nobody's business. Sharon Richardson, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Hey, Sharon's the OG of the channel. I love this True Life News family. Thank you, Joel and everyone. Thank you so much, Sharon. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support.
Does come back, and then it comes back and with some more.
Yeah, and then, by the way, when it was down there, it created some fresh opportunities.
Well, the down hadn't started yet, and that's my concern. And Kevin, you can jump in here, you too, Brian, because I'm not taking over the
The
floor.
water worry on AI, the so-called self-dealing between the behemoths, buying and selling stuff to each other, is being sort of, the analogy is the early 90s on the internet bubble with the pets.com and all that stuff. But the big difference is I can't find a sector of the economy that isn't using AI now. Every single sector, all 11 sectors, including all the small companies I invest in, over 54 of them, every single one of them is using an AI app and is spending more on AI applications than they did 18 months ago because it's a productivity tool, a margin enhancer. So this idea that it's a bubble in the sense that all these companies don't have earnings yet, it's a race to see who's going to deliver the prize. And I bet on all of them. And, you know, I'm talking my book a little bit because I developed data centers as a real estate guy. Right. I have never seen demand like this in CapEx for real estate that's applicable for data centers.
Yeah.
We've got demand for 45 gigs in North America and only 5 are under construction. Every guy and his dog is trying to find 5,000 acres they can put a data center on. And so, yes, it sounds bubblicious, but it's actually a useful tool. So I'm in the camp that says, stay the course, get diversification. And I also think people should start looking at blockchain because Wall Street's looking at it now to combine blockchain with AI for very interesting applications. And I saw a prototype of that in Singapore last week. You pick up your phone, you're beside a bodega or a coffee store or a well-known burger chain, you say, Big Mac with cheese and a shake. Walk in and pick it up. That's it. No app, nothing. Nothing. It completely translates and it geolocks where you are. It knows what you want because you just told it and you walk in the store and you just pick it up.
And the blockchain's the payment?
The blockchain does the payment system. It's surreal. It was incredible and it's actually prototyping. So I think it's 24 months away.
If my kids got their hands on that phone and it was mine, I would be so broke. Can you imagine how much unapproved shopping would happen?
Let me tell you this, guys. A lot of stuff is happening. Trump is moving forward like nobody's business. And if there's anything that I love that's also coming to, it's accountability. Jordan demands Jack Smith testify over partisan politically motivated Trump prosecutions. Jim Jordan has given Jack Smith an ultimatum. You either testify or you're going to go to jail. And that's what we voted for. They held Navarro, Bannon, and others in contempt of Congress because they didn't testify. They went to jail. Same thing should happen for Jack Smith and these others. Same thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love this. I love accountability, what's happening, and I love that we're finally winning big time in America with so much America First policies. That's the only reason. If you appreciate this, and again, if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at True Life News. We truly want to serve you. We're grateful to everybody that supports our channel by liking our videos, sharing our videos on X, Facebook. Want to say, if you haven't already hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. It really helps our voice out so much in growing. I want to give some special love to our members of the channel and those that have given a super chat donation. Remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we donate live on stream to a local charity. We show you the receipt, everybody. It's real. And we've donated so much to children's homes, helping out the innocent. And it means the world to us when you support us here. Want to give some special love to Fred Samuel. Show Fred Samuel some love in the chat. The Zachary Mantis, our boy Jim Barbados, OG of the channel. Fed Up Patriot, and our girl Lay Lewis with the gifted 5 True Life News memberships. If you got a free membership from Lay, show her some love in the chat. Thank you so much, Lay, for your support. Shane MC Heisenberg, Sharon Richardson, show them some love in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much for your kindness, for your support. We love you, appreciate you, and we're here to serve you every day with the top news. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.